And today's meeting will including three parts: the NVR and CMS and APP parts. Okay, now let's begin. There are three parts of today's training. The first is the NVR, including motion detection, records, and the PoE features, basically about plugin and play features, and ANR N+1 Hotspare features, hardware reset for cameras and NVR, and lastly, the most important, the remote connections for the NVR. And for CMS, I will share you some information about our software, including the CMS and the VMS, including VMS Lite and VMS Pro. And lastly, I will share you in real time for the CMS operation. I will just open a real CMS and have you some details, how to configure and how to do live view, playback, and so on. And lastly, I will introduce you some new features about the app and how to do the push notification. And lastly, I will answer some questions and have you some troubleshootings about the app. Okay, now let's begin. There are three parts of today's training. The first is the NVR, including motion detection, records, and the PoE features, basically about plugin and play features, and ANR N+1 Hotspare features, hardware reset for cameras and NVR, and lastly, the most important, the remote connections for the NVR. And for CMS, I will share you some information about our software, including the CMS and the VMS, including VMS Lite and VMS Pro. And lastly, I will share you in real time for the CMS operation. I will just open a real CMS and have you some details, how to configure and how to do live view, playback, and so on. And lastly, I will introduce you some new features about the app and how to do the push notification. And lastly, I will answer some questions and have you some troubleshootings about the app. Okay, now goes to the first part, the NVR, practical configuration. Okay, the first part is how to record by motion detection. Usually, for NVR, there is two things. The first is to record. Wait a second. Sorry, I just got a question. I think I will answer it privately because this is private question. Okay. Laterly, after this meeting. And for this motion detection, usually there are two things. First is schedule, and second is the event. And for Milesight NVR, there are only two different types. Generally, there are two different types for the schedule. The first is continuous record, and the second is event records. First, continuous records means always record. If you select the times, so the NVR will just record all the time and all the events. And event records means you will only record when there is an event. For example, let me show you in real web page. This is remote connection. For NVR, there also have a local monitor, but for demonstration here, I connect with a web page. So in the settings, you can see there has schedules and only two events, two types here, continuous. What continuous means, for example, if you check here this time, so the NVR will record all the time from around 7 o'clock to 16 o'clock. But if you select like event, so NVR will only record when there is an event happened during this time. So the difference between these two types is that for continuous, they will just always record in the effective time. But for events, there is effective time, but also needs an event to trigger the record. So not on all the time. And from my side, we also provide some detailed configuration. For example, currently we support motion detection, alarm detection. This is alarm inputs, both for camera and NVR. For example, if you connect an alarm input into NVR, or you can connect an alarm input into the camera, this is the event type alarm. And third type is the VCA. The VCA yesterday I just introduced 10 kinds of VCA. And lastly is about the smart analysis. This is about LPR camera. Currently only LPR. In future also new features, for example, maybe face detection and so on. So in here you can select events. For example, if here you select events, then during this time, during this Tuesday, if there is a motion detection or alarm or VC or smart analysis, one of them just triggered, then there will be a record. But of course, you can select like, I just want motion detection record, then you can select like this. Then during this time, they will only record when there is a motion detected. No alarm, no VCA, or nor smart analysis could trigger the record. So in conclusion, continuous always records. Events, you cannot have a all the time record, but only there is an event. If you don't like so many events, you can select specific events to record. And here has some tips. Here has some tips because for different events or different type have their advantage and disadvantage. For example, for continuous, obviously it will take too much storage. For example, for if you are monitoring some garage, but the only concerned event is like someone coming or a car come back to the garage. So for continuous record, this is not a very good choice. So in this case, better use the event because event will save you a lot of space. But the good points of continuous is that if you set cameras to record all the time, then it will contain the event. What I mean is, if you select just continuous record, and right now, if there is a motion detection, you can also search on the, for example, the playback or the smart analysis. So continuous record means always record, and it will also search out the event on the playback bar or smart analysis or the retrieve column. So this is two different things about the event record and the continuous record. And this is step 1. And for step 2, if you want to record by motion detection, you can select here by events or by motion detection. And step 2 is that you need to set the event because without configuration motion detection, there will be no alarm could be triggered. So second, you can configure in the motion detection. Very simple, just click and select all. Basically, this is default. You can just enable the motion detection and save or copy. or copy to others. And we provide some actions. For example, audible warning. This is a warning from NVR inside, because every NVR have a buzzer inside. So you can select if there is a buzzer or not. And email linkage, PDZ action. PDZ action is similar on the camera side yesterday, that you can predefine some actions, for example, presets or patrol. For this camera or other camera, for example, this is a camera 1. This is camera 1. You can select an action. You can select a PDZ action, then trigger to like channel 2 PDZ action. For example, in the front door, if a motion is triggered, then if there is a PDZ, you can let this PDZ to turn back to the front door. So action like cooperation working way. And allow output, this allow output including the NVR allow output or the camera allow output in control here. While LED, this is a blinking or flash. Every PDZ, this channel 1 is a PDZ model. So it also have this white LED action way. You can choose to let the camera only itself to blink or to flash. Others, you can also trigger to, for example, currently channel 1. If channel 1 is triggered, you can select to record all the time, all other cameras all the time. For example, if currently you are select on the schedule, motion detection record way. And for example, there are many cameras. For this camera, if there is a motion, you can trigger all cameras record at the same time. Also a good way to have you less storage costs while have as much as possible valuable informations. So this is motion detection configuration. And you can get the motion detection on local monitor by playback, by retrieve, or you can have the signals from the app, which I will introduce you later about how to configure the app notification, or you can have it on the playback or smart analysis for LPR. So only 2 steps: set schedule, set events. This is for motion record. And some tips or notes. For Milesight camera, the motion detection take effective at both sides, the NVR and the camera at the same time. For example, here, this is Milesight camera. For Milesight camera, you can check it from here. You can add it like MSSP. MSSP will have more features, for example, ANR or alarm upgrades, and so on features. So when you do the motion detection, like here, and select the error will be synchronized to camera side at the same time. This is for MSP, Milesight camera. MSP is Milesight search protocol. But for third-party camera, because this motion detection, in fact, is not really on V protocol items. So this needs to be configured. For Milesight NVR, you need to configure on the camera side, the third-party camera side. And NVR will just recognize the signal, alarm signal. So for third-party camera, just step 1. You need to configure like continuous or event or motion detection as you like. But for the step 2, you need to configure on the camera part. I just got a requirement about the LPR camera. Okay. Okay. I'll show you. Here I can show you the information about the LPR on the NVR. So this is LPR camera. So similar as yesterday configured on the LPR camera side. Yesterday, I introduced more information about the front end LPR camera, which basically could combine our solution as a standalone. I mean, for camera LPR combined with line input, for example, the gateway control, to have it a lot more like a standalone solution. But for my side, we also support the back-end solution. Here you can see for NVR, you can have an ANPR configuration page. So basically the same configuration as the NVR, the camera side part, but just slightly different. For example, the list management. The list management. At here you can customize the license, but this list is different from the camera side, which means this list is just belong to list NVR. For example, if you upload the list to camera, it will just stay inside the camera. You need to also upload to this NVR. This is slightly different. And other features just the same: blacklist, whitelist, or visitor list mode. This is for configuration. And similar, this action is NVR action, like audio, email, PDC action, LAN output, via LED, and others record. This is for setting page. Okay. And here you can also see a smart analysis page. Okay. In the smart analysis page, you can have a search. For example, here search. I hope there is less. Okay, there is less. You can check here. You can select the items you want, including the snapshots or the video, real video, the real videos, or the list. You can see. You can select the playlist, or the video, or the pictures, main string, substring, or both string, or MP4 or AVI, as you like. So for my side, you can select the camera, LPR camera, to work like standalone mode, like just insert SD card or combine the NAS for the camera, so the camera just working by itself. But if you like, for example, you have 2 or 3 or 4 LPR cameras, you can connect it into the NVR, because NVR can manage them at the same time. You can connect maximum 16 cameras, LPR cameras, 16 LPR cameras at the same time into NVR. And you can search and management and so on, to the configuration or the search and so on. Okay, so go back to the PowerPoint. This is some records, basically about event record. Okay, the second part is the PoE features. From my side, we have several series of products for the NVR. including the mini series and the Pro series and also the PoE series. So for PoE series, there are several products, including the mini PoE, which have basically it's for 4 PoE ports, 4 PoE ports, and the 5,000, and lastly 7,000. Maximum 24 PoE ports, 24. And here I want to concentrate on the plug-in and the play features, because for Milesight camera, of course, for Milesight camera is plug-in and play. But sometimes if you have some special environment, for example, you have a very old edition Milesight camera or an other project Milesight camera, you want to plug into the NVR, but you know the password is different. You don't know how to add it back into the NVR, PoE NVR, or you want to add it like third-party cameras. So here I will introduce you the rules, how we define the plug-in and play and how this PoE working. So firstly, how this PoE plug-in and play works. The first rule is PoE NIC, the network interface card. The PoE NIC IP range, because you know this is the PoE NVR. There is a LAN port. This LAN port is used to connect like local network. For example, you have your PC, your switch, and so on in this LAN. But also there is another LAN. This LAN is PoE LAN, PoE range, and this range have a itself IP range. For Milesight, the default PoE IP range is 20. This 20 range, and the most important that this IP range is just stay inside the NVR. This range cannot be detected or be searched, be found on the LAN port, because you know for this switch, it will never know which IP range, what this LAN could be in the customer's environment. So this IP range can only stay inside the NVR itself. It will not it will not be broadcast into the LAN port. So this is important. This part is for LAN only. And this PoE part just stay inside the NVR. And for Milesight, you can check the range or customize the PoE range if you like. I think something just causing my CPU too high. So this is a PoE NVR. You can check on the network. And you can find in the last part the PoE NIC IPv4 address. You customize the IP range for this PoE. So in next time, if you add some camera into this PoE NVR, the IP range will be 20, or as you like, for example, 21, as you like. And the second rule is, so the first rule is there is an individual IP range inside this NVR. So obviously, if you want to add a camera into this PoE, the IP range must be the same. For example, here 20. So your camera must be 20. The IP range 20. The second rule is the passwords. Of course, the camera should add with correct camera password. So IP and password, this is two very simple rules. So the second part, how to add Milesight camera. Here I only concentrate on the Milesight camera. The first, active Milesight camera. The NVR will directly activate the camera, assign IP, the 20 range, and also assign a password. This password is same as Milesight NVR admin password, and then auto add. So for inactive Milesight camera, you just plug into the PoE port. So the NVR will do the activation to have the camera password. This password is same as the Milesight NVR admin password, and then he will assign the IP, this 20 range IP, and automatically adds into the NVR to have this plugin and play. And secondly, for the activate Milesight camera, if the camera password is same with Milesight NVR, I mean if the camera is from another project, for example, the IP range is not 20, but the password is just same as the Milesight NVR admin password. So the NVR will also automatically add it. The NVR will just customize the IP range into 20 and then just add. Okay, someone just asked a question. Okay, so this is so this is just for PoE port. Okay, Justin just asked if this is also universal same for the LAN port. No, this is only for PoE port only. PoE ports, PoE model only. We also have some other models, for example, non-PoE model. So non-PoE, if there is no switch inside the NVR, then it not support. But if here I just give you an example for the 4 ports. For our 8 or 6 or 24 ports, it's the same. The principle is universal same for all Milesight PoE NVR. Okay. Also ask another question. What is the 2 Ethernet ports for on the non-PoE? Because you know, for regular models, this is important, especially for large projects. For regular models, we have one LAN NVR and also 2 LAN NVR. For example, here this is model 8000 have 2 ports, okay. For mini series only one LAN port, including these 5000s, all one LAN port. But if for 7000s, these 7000s have 2 LAN ports, LAN 1 and LAN 2, 2 Ethernet. And these 8000s also have 2 LAN. For these 2 LAN, we have 3 different modes. You can check in the network. You can see here there's 3 different modes. The first is multi-address. Multi-address, of course, it means you can have 2 LAN at the same time. Different IP address. For example, one is for public IP. You can have access this NVR from remotely. And another address, for example, the LAN 2 for only local devices, local camera connection. This is multi-address mode. And second is load balance. In here you can see only one NIC can be selected, which is bond 0. Load balance. So which means these two ports will working just in one IP address, but they were working at the same time. They were just like to have this string burden at the same time. Some strings from the LAN 1, some string from the LAN 2. This is very useful when there is very big string. For example, if you connect all 5 megapixel cameras, like 32 channels, you can enable this mode with one single IP, but the string will come from 2 LAN ports at the same time, not only one single Ethernet port. And lastly is the network fault tolerance. This mode is also have one single IP address, but different from the load balance mode. This will have just one single Ethernet working at a time. For example, if you enable this tolerance, then at the most of the time only LAN 1 working. But when LAN 1 become faulty, the LAN 2 will working just like a backup. Okay, so this is three modes, including the first is 2 IP working just like separately, and the second and third is just one single IP, different mode, load balance and network fault tolerance, two different modes. Okay, very good question. Another question is ANPR. ANPR is just LPR. Okay, ANPR for NVR parts automatically number plates recognition. ANPR, this is similar as LPR. LPR is for front end, and ANPR is just for back end. This is just name difference. Because as scheduled, today meeting just around 1 hour, but I think you can ask any questions because there are many free time available. So go back into the PoE plugin and play. So for active Milesight camera, if the camera password is same with Milesight's NVR admin password, then the NVR will just automatically add no matter what camera IP range it is. But if you have a Milesight camera, the password is different with Milesight NVR admin password, then and also the IP range is different. And at this time, you need to go to the device search page, modify the IP and edit the camera password. I mean the real camera password, like regular modify and edit. Here I prepare an example. For example, currently I have another part. This is device search part. You can search in. This is non-PoE NVR. So let's go into the PoE NVR. You can see now this is a PoE NVR. There is LAN and PoE. You can search the PoE. I just connect. You see the IP range is different because default IP range is 20. So here you can edit. You can edit firstly. The IP range into the NVR PoE IP range. For example, here 20 range Now you see the IP range is 20. Okay. And you can also search. You can check on the camera management page later. Right now, the the camera is rebooting. So you can also add here. Camera is rebooting. You can add here with the correct camera password, because currently the camera password is different. So you can add it here or add it on the camera management. Then the camera will also connect it. Okay, so two environment. The first one is camera password, same with Milesight admin password. The ML will just auto add, just like plugin and play. But if the camera password and IP range is totally different, you can just do the search and modify and add as you like, just like regular camera. This is for Milesight's camera. But what if you add it like third-party camera? You can customize the third-party IP range into the NVR PoE IP range before plugging to the PoE NVR. Okay, so this is important. This is major difference, because for third-party camera, our MS SSP can action like nothing. So the most important, the PoE NIC IP range, you need to customize the third-party camera IP range into 20, this PoE NIC IP range. And then just like this, you can search and add the camera with the camera password itself, just like regular use device search page. Okay. So this is for PoE plugin and play feature. Two major rules: the NIC IP range and password. Very simple. Okay, and another feature is important feature is the PoE consumption feature. A different model has different power consumption. You can see in this file. So this is total power supply for different Milesight PoE NVR. For this basic model, 4 PoE ports, this two is 4 PoE ports, maximum 40 watts. And for 5008 is 120. For 5000 and 7000, this is for 200 watts. And maximum is also 200 watts. And this watt may be not so easy to understand. You can check with this chart. For example, for mini PoE PTZ bullet, for this 4-port PoE 2 at the maximum at the same time, and for this 5008, this model 6, and other professional series 10, 22610. For mini PoE PTZ DOM 33A 14, maximum 14, and for speed DOM 1158. Okay, this is just for PTZ models. For basic model, I mean for non-PTZ models, basically you can fully connection. The power consumption is no problem. You can have this file laterly. Wait a second. Okay, lately you can have these files as you like. You can contact support@milesight.com. You can contact your distributors, and you can also check the status in the NVR local display. You can check on the camera status. There is a PoE port status. You can check every camera's power consumption and the totally power consumption or the remain. You can currently power consumption for each port or total power consumption or remain power consumption. This is for power consumption. Okay, the PoE feature is for channel access. This is a feature which allow users to access into the camera, the PoE camera directly. Because like I said, this PoE is just blocked when you connect. For example, you connect this NVR by the LAN port. But if you want to access into the camera, which is connected into the PoE, we provide the channel access feature. I can have you example. The channel access feature, you can check on the network, more, and channel access. You can enable it and save. And in this environment, the NVR will acting just like now this camera is powered up. So this is the camera just powering, and now this is connected by the PoE port. You can see there's 1 and 80. 80 means the HTTP port, the on-view port, and the 1 means now this camera is connected in the physical PoE port 1. So now this is added by the PoE inside the NVR. Now you can directly access. You can see now this 20.12 now can be available from these ports. So in this environment, the camera is just like accessed by the agency of NVR. So this is a camera which is connected to the NVR PoE port, and you can see the network. The camera IP range is 20 now, but you are accessing it by the NVR IP because currently NVR acting more like an agency to port forward the port outside. So this is also a very good feature because you can have more detailed configurations for the camera, more features, data and so on, all features by NVR IP channel access feature. So this is for the PoE NVR. Then we'll go to the other parts, the ANR and the N+1 Hotspare. What is ANR? ANR is automatic network replenishment feature. This is about a feature that camera records a Hotspare from camera to NVR, and we also we also have another mode which is N+1 Hotspare. This Hotspare is between NVR to NVR, and the ANR is between camera to NVR. For example, in this environment, this is a camera, and the camera have a SD card inside. And in regular use, the camera just connecting to the NVR, camera and NVR. But when the camera lost the connection, then at this time NVR cannot record the camera stream. So the SD card will working in this environment. And when the connection is rebuilt, the SD card will just send the data back into the NVR, and also the camera will record at real time. So in this environment, the NVR will record, including the real time and also the lost connection time records. This is for ANR, the camera to NVR. And also the similar, the N+1 Hotspare. This is between NVR and NVR. You can have several master NVR and one single slave NVR. So when one of the master just lost the connection, the slave will just working, record all the data. For example, the camera, all the cameras. And when the master NVR back online, the slave will recovering the data back into the master. This is N+1 Hotspare. How to configure this feature and some notification, we can have details in the troubleshooting. What's Milesight ANR? This is camera and the NVR. So these some tips. Basically, currently is all supported. This is very old. If your camera is very old, make sure upgrade to latest firmware. So the basic rule is that camera must have an onboard SD card. And secondly, the camera should add to NVR by MSSP, Milesight Service Protocol. And then go to the ANR option in NVR storage, record settings, interfaces. Here, this is in the storage page. And just enable it, then just leave it. So when it's working, for example, the camera lost the connection, and the camera will record into the SD cards. And when the connection is restored, you can see it will be in yellow color. Basically, the time is just similar. Usually, if the camera lost like within 3 seconds, then the SD card, the ANR, will working. Almost similar. And for N+1 Hotspare, this is from NVR. This is between NVR and NVR. How to configure, how to set N+1 Hotspare? You need to go to the settings. In the settings, you can see the Hotspare. And you can enable it. You will find two modes, the master mode, or the slave mode, You can select, for example, if you just select master mode, then this NVR will acting in master status, and input slave NVR IP address, password, and then this master will be working. And this is some status. And if you set the NVR, another NVR as a slave NVR. This is slave mode, different page. You will see a master list. This is the list which you just define in other NVR, in other master NVR. You can select several or all of them. Select add, and you will see in the master status. You can see the connection status or working status. So when the NVR is back, for example, is offline, the slave NVR will just working. For example, this 7.779 now is offline. then this slave NVR is now backing up. And NVR, when NVR is online again, the master NVR online again, the slave will just returning the storage back into the master. And similar, you will see in yellow color, Okay, two important tips. The first tip is this feature is only available for 4K S.265 Pro, the 7000 or 8000. Only Pro series support this feature. And secondly, support maximum 22 pieces master NVR, and only one slave at the same time. For example, here you can maximum add 32 master into one slave. This for N+1 Hotspare and ANR. Okay, then the third part is the hardware reset. This is important, especially for SI or for the distributor itself. Before going to the hardware reset, we need to know the double firmwares, these rules in Milesight devices, the camera and NVR. At all the time, all NVRs and the cameras have two firmwares inside the memory. One is for real-time running, another one is just for backup. Okay. So do the hardware resets. When do the hardware resets? The first one is clear the configuration. Another one is to switch the firmware. In other manufacturers, they maybe have another way. For example, you need to rebundling the images. But for Milesight NVR, you can directly do hardware reset to switch the firmware. Hardware reset. So in conclusion, the hardware reset, we have two ways. One is clear configuration. Another is switch firmware. Of course, the switch firmware will clear the configuration. So you can understand it more like one is simple, clear configuration. Another is clear configuration and switch firmware. So for camera, if you preset the reset button after camera powered up for 10 seconds, this is for simple, clear all configuration. But if you press the reset button before camera powered up and keep pressing 10 seconds after power up, it will clear all configuration and switch the firmware. This is small, thoroughly hardware reset before power up. And for NVR, it's slightly different. If you press the reset button after power up, nothing will change. Because for security purpose, NVR is usually is more important. Usually you will configure like 32 or even 64 cameras in one single NVR. So the hardware resets we do more limits. For example, here if you press the reset button after NVR power up, nothing will change. What it means? It means when NVR is just working and you preset the the reset button, nothing will change. This is important. So how to do the NVR hardware reset? You need to press the reset button before NVR power up. Okay, the first is keep press until hear the second beep. Because every time when NVR is powered up, there will be an immediately beep. You will not miss it. For example, if you plug the power into the NVR, there will be a quick immediately beep. You will not miss it. But if keep pressed the reset button, you will hit a second beep. When you hear it, this is clear the configuration. You can select to stop pressing. If you stop pressing, then it just clear the configuration. But if you keep pressing until you heard a third beep, then the NVR will keep configuration and also switch firmware. So it depends how long you press the reset button. If you press like a little, like 10 seconds, then only configuration will be cleared. If you keep pressing, then you will not only clear the configuration, but also switch firmware. And here is 2 files to show you where the reset button it is. Different camera have different place for the reset button. And similar the NVR reset button. You need to open some of them. You need to open it. Okay, so this is hardware reset. Better if the camera have issue, better have a hardware reset like firmware switch. It will be more secured, more safely. Okay, the last part for the NVR is some remote connection, because you know the remote connection is important because this recorder is a network recorder. So the firstly is the port forward and DDNS. And similar as the camera, 2 ports are necessary when do port forwarding: the HTTP port default 80 and RTSP port default 554. So these are 2 important ports, 2 master ports. You need to forward on the router. How to do port forwarding? You can refer yesterday the port forwarding troubleshooting, and also support Milesight DDNS. You can add this Milesight DDNS into ANR and add this ANR into like CMS, for example, on web page as you like. And secondly is the P2P. P2P default is disabled, and you can enable it by yourself here. In network, you will see a P2P. You will see the P2P. Default is disabled, but when you enable, you will see a P2P status. This status is important because, for example, sometimes if your P2P become faulty, you can go and check here. There is, for example, inactive, network unreachable, or the server error, or other status. This is very useful. So if the customer saying currently P2P is disabled, please go to check the P2P status. This is very useful. And you can access the P2P from the app. I will introduce the app and CMS later. And lastly is about the tips. Make sure, firstly, of course, make sure the gateway is internet reachable one. And secondly, make the DDNS 8.8.8.8 because this is Google DDNS. We have many environments, many cases that the customer have a new project, new project, the router and so on. They are just brand new. So the gateway may be not network reachable. So this is a very basic rule. And secondly, the DDNS. The DDNS, they are using their own routers. So the router need to learn for sometimes. So maybe at the first time you apply, it says the domain failed. So you need to we strongly suggest better use this 8.8.8.8. This is very useful. Okay, and for remote connection, we have double stream and the transcoding features for remote connection. This is optimized for remote gen of 2 NVR series. One is for 1000, 8000. This is for entry-level series. Double string playback. For example, for these two series, because it's for middle or too small solutions, so the string is not so big. You can record both string at the same time, and when you play back, you can directly play back the substring. But for the Pro series, I mean 7 and 8 series, you can have a transcoding playback. What is transcoding? This is a feature about software. At here, you can see a transcoding in the playback. You can enable, for example, currently this is 2 megapixel resolution. I can customize to a lower one, and the lower bit rates, auto frame and apply, and then I can play like a lower bandwidth required. You can see the bit rate, the frame rate, and frame size here. So this is very useful, especially for remote connection. You can also check this feature for our online demo, because our online demo is in China. You can check it by yourself. This is only available in 7 or 8000 series. Okay, the last feature is plugin free mode. Currently, more and more people use Chrome, Firefox, or the Safari Mac system. This is Windows system. This is Mac system. The Apple system. We developed this plugin free mode for these browsers. So no need to plug in, install plugin, directly play. But one tips, this plugin free not support H.265 codec. Please note that. This plugin free currently not support H.265. Okay, only support H.264 codec. I mean the camera codec. Hello, now let's go to the CMS part. Okay, the first part is about comparison about Milesight CMS and the VMS, and second part is about real operation. And the CMS, Milesight CMS is used for Milesight IP camera and the Milesight NVR for adding. And the Milesight VMS is used for on-wave devices adding. For example, Milesight IP camera and on-wave IPC camera. So the major difference is about the devices connected. For CMS, can only connect Milesight devices, including the NVR and the camera. But for VMS, it connects only the camera, but you can connect on-wave third-party camera. This is one difference. And another difference is the CMS can only use to manage. The manage means the NVR can control which NVR or which IPC should record or playback or live view. But the record the action itself exists. It happens in the front end. For example, it's in the NVR part. So the CMS more like a central management center. The record is distributed, but the management is in the central. But for VMS is only for the camera adding, but the VMS can record itself by itself. So VMS here more like an NVR, but it's a PC based. It can record live view and playback all the streams. Okay, this is difference between CMS and VMS. For VMS Lite and the Pro, VMS Lite is a single structure. It only have one single software. It is used for most solution. For example, like 16 or 9 channel solution. And for VMS Pro, is CS structure. And the application is like middle to larger solution. For example, more than 23 channels. And for my outside, the VMS, if you are connect my outside camera, license is free. But if for third party, you need to contact your distributor for the details for the license. Okay. Okay, and in this part, I will have you detail introduce about the CMS only. So firstly, it supports maximum 64 channels playing synchronized each screen, and the 4 monitors at the same time, and support customized layout, and adding device via IP domain P2P and Milesight DNS. So first part, you can see there is on the monitor part, this is live view. For the monitor part, there is 4 monitors maximum, 4 monitors, and you can select which monitor. For example, this monitor for specific functions. Okay. So we can see here there is 4 maximum monitors can be selected, and for each monitors, you can select a live view screen, alarm screen, full screen, or none. Live view screen, yes, of course, you can select maximum 4 channels, 4 monitors, all of them as live view screen. Or you can select as alarm screen. For example, if there is an alarm, then it will just only pop up into that screen. Or full screen, if you want to, like, for example, if you want full screen, you can double click, then you will go to that screen. And none is just no use, just stay as is real purpose. So this is full screen. And for each screen, you can select different layout, maximum 64 channels layout. What's more, you can customize the layout. You can customize in here, configuration, add as you like. You can drag like some fisheye mode or this corridor mode as you like. Very useful function, especially you have like fisheye or you have some corridor mode camera. Like this. This is layout. This is about the live view, 64 channels at the same time for maximum. And in the settings, you can have configuration for alarm. For example, you can enable the alarm pop-up. So if there is an alarm, you can see then there will be triggered to pop up the windows, Sorry, I think my PC have some issues. Okay, so this is for the pop-up, for the live view features. For the live view features, including you can have multiple monitors, or you can customize the layout or the pop-up features. And for the playback, similar as the web page playback, you can have a search. You can have search here, and you can see now it's continuous record, and you can also read the motion detections from the color. And also support the transcoding features. So this is for remote connections. This CMS like live view and playback features. And smart analysis feature. This is for similar. This is a backend. I just mentioned about the backend of web page, but if you like, for example, you have several NVR, you can also manage them all at the same time from the Windows or the Mac system. Our CMS also support a Mac system, the Apple system. So our ANPR solution, including the camera, front-end, standalone solution, the Windows or local display, the NVR local display, or the Windows or the Apple system. That's a full solution. You can switch, you can select as you like. And you can add camera or the NVR. And the IP domain P2P and Milesight DDNS 3 ways to adding. Here I already add 2 types. The first type is local. Local is by IP address, and another is by P2P. You can have all the configurations, for example, motion detection, VCA, even ANPR, everything here. And last part is about the EMAP. EMAP is a feature that allows you to customize a map and to locate which camera or which devices it is right now. For example, this is a map. This is a map list. We support several layers of map. For example, here, this is a bigger map. And this is a smaller map, second map. In the major map, you can see, you can put NVR into it right now. Right now, there is already one NVR. And what's more, if there is a motion detection, for example, if you can see the color is changed, so you can check the color and you can see the specific cameras. Double click, you will see which one. It just have the motion by the EMAP. Okay, so basically this is some features about the CMS. Do you have any questions? If you don't, we will go to the app part, APP part. Okay, so the first about the APP is the introduction. This APP supports live view playback device manager, and you can have a file manager, for example, if a snapshot or video records in the app itself. And the most important is support alarm message features and some other general configurations. And here I'd like to introduce you some new features about our latest Milesight 4. The first is quick playback. Usually, if you want to have a playback, you can only have a live view. You need to slide out the column from live view to playback. But latest firmware, latest app, you can directly go to the playback page on live view. There is a small button you can directly click and you will reach to the playback features. And alarm control. The second part is alarm control. Alarm control will allow you to control the camera alarm input, alarm output, or NVR alarm. So you can control the remote alarm just in your app. And lastly is about the client-side developing. This is the most important feature about this version. Here you can check in app. So in here you will see a fish eye button here, just like yesterday I have shown you in the web page. You can select installation mode or display modes and select different modes for the developing. For here now is 103R. Very quickly, you can select whichever mode as you like. Okay, then go to the second part, the troubleshooting part, how to set app to notification. The first step is about the NVR part. In fact, this is by default. In the NVR network more settings, you can check there is a push message. By default, it's enabled, and push stream type is auto. Usually it's substream, but if you like, you can select to primary stream. If the network is okay, you can also select primary stream. And you can select push message settings. For example, only motion detection, or only video lost, or other events as you like. Again, by default, all this is disabled by default. All is enabled by default. And for APP parts, you can have settings on the alarm messenger and enable push alarm. Let's watch it by one simple videos, how to configure on the app side. So the first you need to configure the events. For example, here the motion detection, enable the motion detection. And in the network, make sure the push message function is enabled, just like I showed. And then go to the web page of the app settings, add the NVR by the IP or P2P as you like. And then go to the alarm message settings. Select the device as you like. Okay, now if there is a motion detection, then you will receive a notification. See, there is a motion detection. And in the app side, this is real time. And at the app side, you will have a notification. Just click, you will access to the playback, directly playback. So this is for the configurations of app to notification. And the most important is let's make sure your NVR is connected to the network, because this is internet requirements feature. If your NVR is not connected to internet, then the notification will not work. Okay. Okay. Lastly, let me share you some tips about this app using. The first is P2P test status. If your devices is connected by P2P, we provide a very useful function, the speed test feature. So when you're doing the P2P app testing, you can use this. For example, here the upload is 77 Mbps. This is very big. This is very good for remote access. But if your network is not so good, for example, only seven, you can adjust by this data, because from live view you can customize the bitrate from the live view page. From the live view page, you can customize the bitrate of each cameras. So this is very useful. You can adjust different environments by different network condition. Okay, the second is the one I just said. The NVR DDN is set to 8.8.8.8. This will help clients to have a faster domain resolve, especially for the first time use. Okay, lastly is about the error codes. These two major error codes we met. For example, the -1 or -19. The -1 means server not response, and -19 means all server response cannot find device. Basically, they are similar, like general fields. How to check this? You can check on the NVR part. Just like I said, you can go to the NVR part and check the P2P status. P2P, there will show you some status. For example, the activated or unactivated network error, and so on, and so on. And if not, you can also disable or enable. It will show you the real-time status, because sometimes the network of the environment is changed. For example, suddenly it becomes bad, then the NVR will fail to respond to the server. Then you will have this feature. At this time, you can go to the NVR P2P page to check the status. It will have you the status showed here. Okay, so that's all for today's training.